There are certain things that business breakfast presenters here on Dubai I rely on every morning. One is, of course, your alarm clock. Two is the car starting. And three is the coffee machine working once you get into the studio. So you can imagine my concern when I read this headline on Sky News just at the end of last year. It reads, "The perilous threat to our coffee supply. Critical supply problems aren't just pushing up prices, they threaten the very future of coffee worldwide." Surely not. There's only one person to ask. The former president of the Specialty Coffee Association, who's getting a bit more sleep these days. The CEO of Mokha1450, however, is keeping him busy, is Garfield Kerr, returning to the studio. Garfield, always good to catch up with you.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Is the future of coffee, the future of coffee is perilous, as that headline is saying at the moment. Can we imagine, is it realistic that there is a future? If we don't do something now, could there possibly be a future without coffee or not?
Yes, that is absolutely in the cards, because the threat of climate change and also the fact that the younger generation of farmers aren't getting into farming poses a real and significant threat. It absolutely is real.
Which is worrying for you, for me, for, I'm sure, many of our listeners out there. So let's get into some of the nitty-gritty on that one. Coffee prices hitting record highs last year. What's driving those prices up?
The prices are driven up primarily by the largest exporter of coffee, Brazil, and the drought that they had the year previously. At the end of last year, the prices came down because there was good rainfall. But as the year ended, the rainfall was not as much as anticipated. So in 2026, it rose again. Brazil, what happens in Brazil affects the price globally because they're the largest producers of coffee. I'm
assuming, and put me right if I'm wrong here, Garfield, that like other commodities, coffee beans are stored in advance so that they can be pushed out to market. Is that the case? And if so, are we seeing an impact on price of coffee here already, or is that something that we'll see moving forward?
That's not how coffee works.
Okay.
And it doesn't act like any other commodity. It's completely different. As someone who comes from a finance background, it is mind-numbing how different and difficult and opaque the coffee industry is. It's in real time. It's future. So if you're a large producer of a coffee product, you're buying your coffee in advance and paying for it in advance, and it arrives real time. So it's not like other commodities where you can hedge or you don't have to accept delivery of the product. You're accepting delivery in real time.
So, okay, playing bad cop, and again, put me right on this one, because a number of our listeners will be out there going, all right, climate change, surely that means that it's warmer in other parts of the world, therefore we can grow coffee beans in other parts of the world. Let's just grow more coffee.
Coffee grows, there's a coffee belt. It grows at a specific temperature and a specific altitude. So around the globe, there are only specific regions that can grow coffee. And the only country that is assessed to be okay if the bad thing happened for the projections for global warming is Ethiopia, because they can go a little bit higher and still grow coffee. But for most places, if global warming, if the worst case scenario happens, you don't have a lot of alternatives.
Prices going up. How are cafes and coffee brewers here and roasters here dealing with that? Are we seeing
here in the UAE?
Yeah,
we're a little bit insulated. A little. If you're getting your coffee from the grocery store, you're more exposed to the volatility of the prices. Luckily, in the UAE, the percentage of out-of-home consumption is quite high. And you're a little bit less susceptible to the prices because there's a lag and it takes there's a period of time before the cafes will raise their prices. So it's good to be here. You're not as exposed because most people are having their coffee in cafes, and we also have a large specialty coffee sector, which our prices are higher than the C-grade price to begin with. So we're a little bit more insulated.
Raw beans costing more, as you mentioned there, and becoming more difficult to grow as well. What gives? Where does the price get passed down as well? Does that come to me going to a counter to buy a coffee? Does it come to you buying beans from the producer, from the grower? Where we pay more?
It's unfortunate because when the price goes up, the farmer never sees it.
Ah.
And when it goes down, they feel a pinch. And that's one of the threats to coffee in the future. But it's spread across the entire value chain. So the prices goes up, exporters in exporting countries pay more, importers pay more, the consumer pays more, the roaster pays more. It gets spread along the entire value chain.
What's your prognosis moving forward, Garfield? I mean, could we see a production surplus? Is it all dependent on the weather? I mean, how much is climate playing? And in terms of what that means for coffee, not just here in the UAE, but globally, what needs to be done to sort of preserve the future of coffee?
What needs to be done is that I think the consumer needs to educate themselves and try to make conscientious choices, because it's not a sustainable industry moving forward. And I think there is some reticence to pay the true value of coffee, because it's been a product that has been cheap for so long that we're used to paying a specific price. And psychologically, most people have a problem paying higher. But I think that elasticity has to be expanded, and people have to just get used to paying more.
Right, we can't solve the issues globally, but we might be able to solve some of the issues here locally. I mean, you're a keen observer of the UAE coffee and café culture, which has absolutely boomed in recent years. You don't have to go far to find a cup of joe anywhere in this city. Again, what do we need to do here to preserve not just beans globally, but also coffee? The coffee culture will always be part and parcel of the UAE, as it is in cultures the world over. But cafe culture here, have we gone too far? Are we saturated now?
We've gone too far a while back. We were very saturated, but I think that's a good thing for the consumer. But because Dubai now leads the world in cafe culture, I think a lot of brands are relocating here, and it's a showcase for them. So it's good for the consumer because you have a lot of choices and a lot of good quality choices. But it's from a business standpoint, it's definitely a saturated market.
Quality is what you and Mokha1450 are all about. That's what you set out to do from the very offset as well. How was 25 and what's 26 look like for you?
2025, my team were tired at the end because we were so busy. The last event was spectacular. We did Formula One in Abu Dhabi, which was quite interesting. And 2026 started out with a bang. We just did the 1 billion followers summit and had record numbers. So the prognosis is good. Okay,
Garfield, as CEO of Mokha1450, but also as the former president of the Specialty Coffee Association, what's your message in conclusion? A, to someone like me, a coffee drinker on a daily basis, but also to those that are setting out to open a cafe, open a coffee roastery out there. What do we need to do in 2026?
In 2026, I think be more conscientious about your choices and do your research. If you're opening a business, have a business plan, look at the market, see if there's a niche that you fill that will add value and make it profitable for you to open that business. For the consumer, I would say research what's going on in coffee and try to make conscious choices where you know that your purchase of coffee is going more towards the farmer.
Garfield, always good to catch up with you. All the best for 2026. Really appreciate your time and your insight this morning. Garfield Kerr is the CEO of Mokha1450 right here in Dubai. This is the Business Breakfast.